First love.
Hello, what's up guys, Panzer here, and today I'm taking a look at Pixel Piracy. This is a game that's out in early access right now, so I'm going to try to answer the question, is it any good? Or is it going to be any good? But there are a couple of things that do need to be straightened out before this can even come close to being released. Now, I'm not being negative on the game, but you'll see what I mean in just a sec. Now, I'm going to go and have a look at the options menu right here, and there's a reason why I want to look at it, because this really nice menu background has a day and night cycle. So it gets dark and it gets bright. It's useful because the only graphics option you have while in the game is the bloom option, and that actually allows you to test the bloom effect in action. So you've got this little slider here, and then you just sort of change it, and you can see the effect straight away. The only thing is, you can't really see the sliders all that well. In fact, looking at it now, when it starts to become nighttime, the sliders are almost the same color as the background. So, not sure exactly what's going on there, but I assume this is on the to-do list or something to sort out. This is definitely not acceptable at all. And there's actually no graphics options to speak of in the game. The only graphics options I saw were quality options, of which there are one, and a resolution option, and all of these are controlled by a launcher, so they're not even available in the game. Yeah, so probably something on the to-do list, and I couldn't tell you that's actually something that's gonna be done, because right now the actual development of the game, there are some information here and there, but it's not a lot of information that I could find about it. So let's have a look at the rest of it. The actual game starts out like this. I'll just create a new game right here, and well, you basically just this is the first screen that you get. We create a new world, and you can name the world, and you can name your character. Now, this game has a crew management aspect to it, so whatever character you create, that is actually you in the game, and then the rest of it's part of your crew. So if you happen to get killed by something, yeah, the game is over. So that's something to remember. Alright, so after you create your character and you name your character, you go through a series of questions where it will affect the sort of type of world that you get. And now this is all procedurally generated worlds, so having these kind of options gives you a little bit of control over it. And I'll just skip through all of these and let you guys kind of see what the game looks like. Alright, so this is the actual world of Pixel Piracy. It is a 2D pixel-styled game, as the name would suggest, funnily enough. And it kind of reminds me of games like Terraria and Starbound. And in fact, it reminds me of Starbound for many reasons, because the main draw of the game does seem to be the shipbuilding, which is one of the main draws of Starbound, actually, having a customizable ship that you can actually call your own. And I think Pixel Piracy, that has that same sort of attractiveness in the fact that you can create your own pirate ship, design it however you want, and even lay it out and equip it however you want. So it is, I'd say, pretty good in that sense. You know, you get this whole customizable aspect to it. But as for the rest of it, I mean, the controls are a little bit clunky. Like, for example, you can left click to move around, and you right click to order your crew around. The only thing is, you've got these buttons at the bottom that seem to, you know, move your crew and do certain things, like you can issue orders and stuff like that. But to attack enemies, there doesn't seem to be a key bound to it that I can tell, and you basically can only attack enemies with your crew if you click and drag this button out. And I don't know about you, but clicking and dragging is a little bit of a complex action for me. I mean, yeah, you know, it's a simple thing to do, but when you're playing a game and you need your crew to switch targets quickly, it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to do very fast. Especially because the button's not exactly that big either. So, to me, it seems like maybe this is something that they're planning to do for mobile platforms, you know, sort of touchscreen. It does have that sort of touchscreen feel to it, actually. So, that could be something that they're planning to do in future for this game. With a mouse, it is a little bit clunky to do that. I'm not entirely satisfied with that. I don't particularly like that type of control. Anyway, so I'm going to show you a bit of combat now, and I'll show you. This is what how you actually play the game. You actually go to the world map, and then you have this 5x5 grid that you see right here. But if you take a look at it and you tell me straight up that you know how to use this map. Because, yeah, you can click the things there, but, you know, some form of tutorials would be nice. In fact, the only semblance of a tutorial I saw in this game was right at the beginning, where you have this little screen that tells you what the controls do, and that's about it. The rest of it still is largely unexplained, so for the game to be launched without it would be really, really difficult. I don't think anybody would be keen on playing something that they couldn't figure out how to play right off the bat. So, using this world map, you kind of click on these squares, and these represent certain things. So, your visible area has a couple of places you can go to, and you just sort of click those places. You can go to other places that you have discovered before, if you have discovered them, but of course, we've just started this game, so there will be nothing to discover, nothing that we have discovered yet. So, I'm going to show you one of the places. So, let's go to this island over here. So, when we click it, what do we do next? We've got to click the Sail to Destination button, but it's this little pulsing black button on top of a black background. And I'm sorry, but I could not for the life of me figure out where that button was and how to operate the map after clicking with the destination that I wanted to go to. I actually got to the point of Googling it, and I don't think that's really something that a player should have to do. So some explanation would be necessary, and definitely the UI really, really, really needs some work in order to be polished enough to actually function. But here you are. Once we've selected it and we click Sail to Destination, we have it's a sort of loading screen, actually. You see the boats sort of sailing along. I mean, it is a nicer view than having just a loading screen there. I mean, you know, it kind of simulates the whole you're traveling to something. I mean, it's not exactly a loading screen because it does actually vary. You can see the percentage at the top there actually changes depending on the distance to the place. Now, if we were to travel somewhere much further away, it would actually take longer to get there, so, you know, it makes sense. The only thing that I don't seem to understand is why they chose to do it this way is your characters only seem to level up and gain experience when you're traveling to a place. And I don't know about you, but that seems a little bit strange to me. I would have thought that you'd actually gain experience from actually doing something. In this case, kind of traveling from place to place, and you could go from island to island and do nothing on those islands, and you'd still gain XP, which seems to make it seems a bit strange to me, actually. Alright, so when we get to the island, there are going to be possibly some creatures, or some neutrals, or even some enemies outright, but there'll be stuff to pick up, stuff to loot. In some cases, rare cases, I've seen completely barren islands, but these are all random. They are completely random. In fact, they're random to the point that if you were to visit the same island twice, you would get two different things. Now, the game is really adamant that you save every time you travel somewhere, so if you were to die on that island and you load it up again, there's no way to prepare yourself for what's going to happen. Absolutely no way. You're not going to know what's going to be coming, because it is that random. The next time you load in, it's going to be something completely different. And personally, I think that's a really strange design decision. I would like to know that, you know, okay, I know this island has lots of tribesmen on it, so I'm going to avoid it. Or I'd like to know that if I've visited an island before, that there's lots of dogs on that island and we're going to die from that. Or if I visited another island before, I know that this island is empty and I'm not going to bother going to that one. That's something I would like to see. I wouldn't like to go to an island next time and see it's completely different again, because that just doesn't seem to make any sense. I don't think so. In fact, I would like to see some form of persistence in the world, at least, you know. If I load up into an island that I've already, you know, killed all the tribesmen on, for example, and plundered the island, that you would see the bodies and things still there. I mean, it seems to make sense to me that that would happen. Because it's not like, you know, like animals would come up and eat it because we've killed everything on the island. I mean, you know, it's just an example, but that's what I think should have happened. It's a really strange design decision to have the island randomly generate every single time. Anyway, so that's just showing you a bit of the combat here, so you just click it. And the stats will do the rest. There is an RPG element to it, so there's some skill sets and things like that, and every crew member has its own skills. The one thing is, this game has a survival element to it as well. If you've noticed by now, there is a hunger bar and a morale bar. If either of these reach 0%, your character dies instantly. It's not even a case of hunger reaching 0 and your health starting to deteriorate. It's not that. You just die straight away. And that's something that really ticks me off a little bit, because I don't agree that it should be done that way, because there isn't a really clear cue that any of your crew members are going to have that. In fact, in the past couple of times that I played this, every time a crew member has died from hunger, I had no clear indication that that was about to happen unless I checked his crew sheet completely. The only indication comes with a little icon that appears above his head, but given that the crew can sometimes get very spread out, you wouldn't notice it unless it's on the same screen as you. So they definitely should have included some form of indicator where you can see it off the screen. Now, you're probably going to be thinking, well, Panzer, you're being so, so harsh on a game that isn't complete yet. Yes, and that's partly because it's available for early access and you can pay already. So I am taking a little bit of critique based on the fact that it already has a paid option. And to me, if you're going to put a game for any kind of money up for distribution already, it should be in a more or less complete state. And there are some things that are just really not finished yet. So if you ask me, is it any good? I would say the basic core mechanics that are there, in a sense of building a ship, certain elements of the combat that work decently well, yeah, that part is good. It has potential. I like the art style as well. The voice cues get a little annoying though. But ultimately, this is, like every other early access game, get it if you're keen on supporting the developer and you see the potential in the title. Don't buy it if you're looking for a game that you can jump on and play straight away, because this game, I'm sure it'll be good when it's finished. It has the potential to be so. It just isn't in that polished state right now to be released. And I just don't think that this is a game that you should go out and buy now. I can't really endorse buying this in its current state. So my take on it is it any good? It might be in future. But it isn't there yet. And that's kind of the same that could be said for any other early access game. So that kind of wraps it up for this video. This is in Pixel Piracy, now available on Steam for early access. Check it out if you want to. I'll see you guys next time.